you've been in a position where you've taken over captaincy. You've also been in a position where you've handed over captaincy. Is there a similarity between the transition? Uh, and I'm going to talk about two people who um, are just incredible, and they come across as lovely human beings. I know one of them, thanks to RCB, Faf, and the other is MS Dhoni, who again the world is in love with. What's that been like to kind of uh, receive and to give?
Again, as you mentioned, both people are amazing. With me and MS, there was never a question of any awkwardness in that whole period, because the reality of the situation is MS chose me. It wasn't the other way around. So when you understand that as a captain, you already have someone who has been under your wing since he was 23 and vice captain, and I was always having conversations to him about what we can do in the field, my suggestions to him, whether he can take it on board, this and that. So I was always his right hand man. I was always there understanding the game, and we also got confidence because I was playing a lot of match winning knocks for the team. So he understood that I understand the game. I understand where the game is going and what I need to do. And also I was giving him a lot of inputs on the field. I was never someone who was just standing there fielding and throwing the ball back. I was always going to him if the game was tight. What do you think we can do? Because I was always with the feel of the game. I was never really only looking at the scoreboard. Oh, these many runs, these many balls. No, what is the pitch doing? What the conditions are like? What are our bowlers bowling like? If the batsman's feeling uncomfortable or not? What fields can we put? What can we do to try and break this partnership? Or all those kind of things.
Yeah.
So he understood that very early. So he kind of took me under his wing, and since 2012 I was groomed to be the next guy who was going to take over. So that's why it was very smooth, and I had always had and still have huge respect for him, for how he captained the Indian cricket team, and obviously how he performed for the Indian cricket team for so long. And I never had any kind of what do I say, ill intentions when it came to MS. Like, I never felt like I should be there. You understand? Like,
Yeah.
I always was very respectful of the fact that he has so much trust in me, and I can go and talk to him about anything, any situation.
Clearly, it seems like a very respect-driven relationship between you. Yeah.
So when I became captain as well, it was still the same. He would give me advice all the time, and I was able to tell him, this, I don't want to use this at this moment, and let's go ahead and use this plan. It was very clear and it was very simple. There was never awkwardness. There was never any of this, he might feel bad or I might feel bad. Never happened with us. So that was such an amazing transition which I experienced. And then here as well with Faf, as I mentioned in the interview before, we've always had a lot of respect for each other. We got along well whenever we had a few chats. And then as soon as I understood that this is RCB's plan, I messaged him. So I was probably the first guy to message him and let him know that this is gonna happen. So he was very excited about it, and he immediately understood that I'm on board here to play under him. And he was clearly very excited the way he replied to me, and he felt like this is something that will motivate him to kind of take a new path and help the team go to the goals that we want to go to. So it's both ways. It's been very, very nice.
So, what is the difference that you've experienced walking in as the captain, leading the side out, and then suddenly having this transformation to not being the captain? Because you've played as a player before as well. But have you, like, is there a stark difference between the two things?
Of course there is. I mean, I'd be lying if I said it's not. Because you go into a position of being responsible for everything that's going on around you.
Yeah.
And to not be in that position, it takes a bit of time to process it and understand it and let that become normal, if that makes sense.
Sort of, I think it's about letting go.
It's not so much letting go,
No?
because once you have decided that you don't want to do it, you've already let go. of it in a sense.
Hmm.
But it's the moments where the game is kind of in the balance,
Oh, and you have
and
an
that's when you
idea.
feel like, oh, we should, and that's when you realize, no, maybe I should not give my advice right now because the plan seems to be already made and it's clear.
Yeah.
So these are the kind of things that happen when you understand that, okay, hold on, you need to kind of hold yourself back. So these are the only things I'm talking about, like in those crunch moments, because you've been always involved in taking decisions in those moments, it naturally kicks in again that, oh, do I need to take that decision? And then you realize, okay, no, it's working well. But there have been so many instances in this season as well when I would run to Faf and tell him, you know what, I strongly feel we should do this. And he's been happy enough to take it. And he's been happy enough or clear enough to tell me, I don't want to do that at this point of time. And again, as I said, it's been very, very
But-
respectful.